Yesterday in the press briefing room, it was a master class in propagandizing, except, like it always is. I mean, look, every administration, they're gonna bend and twist and shape the narrative that fits what's going to suit them best from a messaging standpoint. That's expected. But outright lies and diversions and distractions are not what they're there for, and it is not what we should expect from our leaders. And yesterday was a prime example of this. A reporter was asking about this entire Pete Hegseth thing. And Karoline Leavitt, in the same answer, said that it was Pete's guys. It was the men who came with Pete Hegseth to work at the Pentagon, that they were the ones who leaked this, the ones who had been fired. They'd been walked out of the building, and that's why. And the reporter's like, well, these are his dudes. She didn't say these are his dudes. I'm paraphrasing. But she's like, no, these are Pete's allies. These are his people. They are MAGA. They are Donald Trump devotees. And then just a few breaths later, she says, people in Washington, they don't like the reforms that are happening. As though the dudes who came with Pete to be on the job, who they're blaming for this leak, even though Pete Hegseth himself is the leaker. They didn't send the information about top secret military operations to Pete's wife or Pete's dopey brother. They didn't do that. Pete did that. So you can't blame it on them that Pete did what he did. You also can't blame it on the people who are afraid of the reforms and opposed to Donald Trump's agenda, because that's not them. They're MAGA. It's the same thing that played out during the first administration, where every person was a radical leftist who ended up being fired or quitting on Donald Trump, even though the list includes all kinds of luminaries that are absolutely still in the MAGA cult. It's ridiculous. Anyway, watch this moment from the press briefing yesterday, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Thank you. Dasha, why don't you kick us off?
Thank you, Caroline.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it. I have two questions, one on the Pentagon and another on the economy. You said on Fox News that the entire Pentagon is working against Secretary Hegseth, but the people who were fired were Hegseth's own guys. So how do you square that, and what do you say to concerns that that's bad management?
They were Pentagon employees who leaked against their boss to news agencies in this room. And it's been clear since day one from this administration that we are not going to tolerate individuals who leak to the mainstream media, particularly when it comes to sensitive information. And the Secretary of Defense is doing a tremendous job, and he is bringing monumental change to the Pentagon. And there's a lot of people in this city who reject monumental change, and I think, frankly, that's why we've seen a smear campaign against the Secretary of Defense since the moment that President Trump announced his nomination before the United States Senate. Let me reiterate, the president stands strongly behind Secretary Hegseth and the change that he is bringing to the Pentagon, and the results that he's achieved thus far speak for themselves.
Is there an FBI investigation into the leaks? The Secretary said that these people would be prosecuted, so is the FBI investigating?
You'd have to ask the FBI, you have to ask the Department of Justice on what they plan to do, but certainly we take leaks with the utmost seriously across this administration. You've seen people fired from the Department of Homeland Security. The president has made it clear it's an unacceptable behavior.
The White House will not tolerate leaks coming out of the Pentagon, unless, of course, it's Leaky Pete himself. Unless, of course, it's Pete sharing top secret, highly sensitive war plans with his wife via Signal on his personal cell phone that is most assuredly, I guarantee you, compromised by foreign adversaries. Unless it's that, we're not going to tolerate it. The people in this city, they reject monumental change. And the Pentagon is against Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump. The Pentagon. Look, having served in the military for years in the United States Marine Corps, I could tell you that the majority, I was going to say vast majority, but I'm not quite sure of that. But I certainly can attest to confidently that the majority of people in the military are conservative-minded. They certainly get sucked into the propaganda that Donald Trump cares about them, cares about their safety, their stability, their futures. A lot of them do. even when I was in the Marine Corps, I was still, enveloped by this idea, this falsehood that Republicans gave a shit about the troops, even about national security. And that's certainly not the case. If it wasn't then in the 90s, it certainly isn't the case now with Donald Trump having dragged this Republican Party into the fascist existence that it had a fever dream about. So this is all just absolute propaganda and lies. Do you believe that they care about leaks and that's why they fired those individuals? They care about leaks. Yeah. Anyway, what do you think? I invite you to this conversation. We can have it in the comments below. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. I appreciate you very much. Please consider, if you have it in your means to do so, not if you're on a retirement budget or a fixed income of any kind whatsoever, but if you can afford $2 a month, if you could just throw it out the window and it's a bummer, I could have bought a pack of gum with that. And you want to help support independent media, I would invite you to help support this channel. You can click the join button below for $2 a month. Do just that. Become a channel member right here on YouTube. You can also go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. Both those are great ways to help support this work. You can also go to dollemore.com, check out the merch there. We sell some stickers, different designs of t-shirts. Have a great one that we really like. I love wearing this shirt around. It's a great conversation starter. It's a message. It's positive. It's fight poverty, not the poor. We love those shirts. You can get one of those. Dollemore.com. Anyway, I love and appreciate you. Maybe I'll see you online. I'm at Dollemore on social media, and I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine. Take care of one another. Many of you are aware that my dear friend and brother of choice, not of blood, Brett McAfee, suffered a near-fatal medical emergency last summer while our families were on vacation in Scotland. I appreciate to no end the outpouring of support for Brett that you all gave. And I'm also very happy to report that he is safe and healing and working that long path of recovery. What I've probably not told you about Brett is that beyond being an excellent friend, he's also a talented writer. We have been the best of friends since we were kids, and I have been continually inspired by his creativity and by the truly singular take that he has on life. Over 2 decades ago, he wrote a poem called The Grateful Child. It's an acknowledgement of all the simple strengths that we tend to overlook. Written from the perspective of a young person, multiple grateful children express gratitude to their parents for the elements that make them who they are. The accounting of these everyday gifts inspires a clear reminder that we should not take anything for granted. I've shared Brett's remarkable poem with numerous people over the years, and a reoccurring response is that this should be a book. Well, we finally decided to listen to those people. The Grateful Child is not only a children's book for adults in your life, it's also an adult's book for children in your life. Everyone will appreciate its straightforward yet elegant celebration of life's little endowments. Click the link below to pre-order now, or simply scan this QR code and order your copy or copies today. But this being an illustrated book, we could not survive on the words alone. To pair with Brett's touching words, we searched all over for an illustrator who could bring The Grateful Child to visual life. We landed on somebody right here in the community from this show. Leah Farshid is an internationally acclaimed illustrator who, like you, is also an audience member. The moment we saw the first images that Leah drew to accompany Brett's text, we knew we had a perfect combination. It brings me tremendous joy to share my best friend's beautiful poem and Leah's spectacular images with the world. Everyone can benefit from The Grateful Child, just as I benefit from Brett's lifelong friendship. Share this beautiful book with your children. Share it with your parents or other relatives. The Grateful Child is an easy and exceptional way to show appreciation for someone in your life, young or old. Support someone you love and support this channel by giving The Grateful Child. Click the link below to pre-order now, or simply scan this QR code. I am pretty sure your children need a copy, and your mom, your nieces and your nephews, your Grandpa Charlie too. Don't forget Grandpa Charlie. I think he'd love this. Make The Grateful Child a part of your life. It has been such an excellent part of mine.